Javi, you might be better off just angling this slightly up because no, I mean like this. Just turn it so it's more angled up.
No, wrong way, other way.
Oh. So it's like this. Yeah. See how like the mic itself is not pointed towards you?
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That makes that's a lot more comfortable. It's because I got a big mouth.
Yes, Javi does indeed have a big mouth.
I do have a big mouth, bro.
All right.
All right, we're ready.
Don't you wish your girlfriend was? No.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ServiceMonster podcast. Joe is out once again this week. He actually had baby number 6 has arrived earlier this week.
Yeah.
I have
his wife.
Well, yes, his wife. His wife did the actual heavy lifting.
Yeah.
But balance was not brought to the Kowalski clan as a little baby boy was there. I'll leave kind of the rest of that, and Joe, I'm sure, will be
so many
excited
boys,
to share.
man.
Yeah. Oh, got to keep that lineage going. So
that's right.
But yeah, I have Javi here with me. I'm just going to do the kind of quick update again. If Joe is out next week, we'll also do full on. Javi, Michael, and I will actually just have kind of a full show planned for you guys, just to make sure we don't have too much of a length there in between full podcasts.
Yep.
Javi, do you want to let people know kind of what's coming on, what's happening early next week?
Yeah, just the quick and dirty of it is just a new release, fixing some bugs and things of that nature. But yeah, we'll have the full release notes next week up on our blog for sure.
Yeah, we'll go more in depth on like the podcast itself once we have the full list of the trackers there that are going to be in the build. So we'll kind of go through those in the podcast and let everyone know kind of what's coming out. And so that'll be early next week is what we're targeting for the release. Maybe push back a day or two depending on development time. So
development time, man. That's like I'm Mexican. That's like 2 times as slow as Mexican time.
Well, we are in a room full of developers, Javi, so be careful what you say. They do outnumber us right now.
They can outrun me, man.
All right. So I think from there, we're just going to move into SMUG. If you want to kind of let us know what the first post there is.
Yeah, of course. So Dan was asking if there was a way to better filter the accounts that have the alert on them. For whatever reason, right? So we want to list and pull up a list of those accounts with that alert. Yeah, but he was basically asking if we have something of that nature.
Yeah, and so for those of you that aren't aware, on the account level, you can kind of have an alert set up to kind of remind yourself, like maybe if it's a customer you kind of had to fire and you want to make sure that they don't come back, someone in the office doesn't accidentally schedule them or something like that. You can set an alert on the account. So every time they order or you put in their information, there's a giant exclamation like, hey, read the notes. Hey, big arrow pointing here, basically.
Exactly.
And so Dan was asking for kind of a report on that. And then Brenda gave him a couple of ideas. And I thought that they would be nice to share with the team. I think she will be still working on a possible report as well. But a couple of the ideas are, there is a review section in the account list. And so if you're using the alerts as kind of how Dan is, where you're trying to give yourself a list of accounts, you want to make sure you go in and kind of double check a few things. Instead of using the alert function for that, you can use the review function, which is actually on the order itself, not the account. So you can flag an order for a review, and then you can go in later on and kind of sort in that list.
Right.
Now, we won't go into the whole nitty gritty there, but we can have a quick video in an article. When you guys read this, make sure you check that out if you're interested.
Yeah, a lot of people use that for like emailing customers or monthly statement or whatever the case is, if they're like a commercial recurring client or
yeah, and it works
whatever.
really well too. Like if you're kind of setting it up for the final, like especially if you have a large kind of operation,
job,
kind of letting the next person know it's time for you to do the final check and make sure everything's closed out.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, for sure, man.
The other thing, before we get too far, is she also mentioned that the custom views. There is a filter in the custom views. And what I mean by that is on the account list, order list, job list, any of the list views in the system, like where you're just looking at the huge list with the columns in each area, you can create custom views in ServiceMonster 6.
Yeah.
And so we actually have a video on this, and we'll link that here. But one of the filters is whether or not there's an account alert, so whether it's true or false. So if you did want to go that route, that is possible using this. We've talked about this in past podcasts too. You can basically create your own miniature reports.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Take a look at that list if you haven't, because there's quite a few things in there that scream value that you may have never thought that were there. And depending on what your business processes are, they can definitely deliver some value.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Jeremy asked, what did he ask? He was, so on the technician app, if there was a way that his technicians can see some previous history, or if there was he's asking for that feature request. Usually what he does is he prints out a couple of their past jobs, and it would be a lot easier for him if it was just on the phone. Is that right?
So that was actually later on with Jennifer.
You see, I'm a one-track mind, man. I saw the word technician in there, and I just assumed it was out. Like
it's all good, man. Okay, let's answer that question.
They both start with the J, man. Jennifer, Jeremy.
Let's answer
same
Jennifer's
thing.
question first. For those that are on the edge of your seat now,
Okay.
Waiting for the answer. So in the tech app, the reason we wanted to include this is because it seemed like, based on the SMUG response, a lot of our users weren't aware of this. You can click into the account on the technician app, and in there you can see kind of the order history. This was requested by a lot of our carpet cleaners who kind of use that, especially on their sales guys, just making sure that they know what to upsell and kind of giving themselves a little bit more ammunition, so to speak, when they're there.
Right. Like last time, like, hey, you called us
it's
for
been
the
a year
roof.
since you've had your upholstery done. Like,
oh, okay.
I'm right here.
Yeah.
I can do that for you too. So just kind of things like that.
Yeah.
But that is on the tech app. You just have to click onto the account itself and look at that history there.
It's good to know too for like square footage and things like that. So you don't have to remeasure things if you don't have that service item in there already.
And if you're not using service items, you should be. And so we'll post a video on that too.
Yeah.
What do we mean exactly by service items?
We'll call Adam and he will explain.
Oh, come on.
Well, service item basically will measure the dimensions of a specific customer's area. So, for example, you go to Nancy's house, you measure the upstairs living room area, and it's like, I don't know, 200 square feet or whatever. And every time you go back in there to her house and she specifically asks for that room again, your pricing may be different, but more often than not, it's going to be the same square footage. And you can link a line item to that dimension, and you can attach pictures to it so you can see it from like so you can find it easier and things like that. But it'll link it up and adjust it to the new pricing. So if you're a carpet cleaner, it makes a ton of sense.
It's not just for square footage either. A really, really fun use case for it is I've trained a lot of auto detailers. I don't know how you always end up passing those to me. I've gotten all the auto detailers, but it works really well for them for tracking, the cars. Like, if you've done the 67 Mustang, the whatever car they've done work on, they can kind of track. And what makes it so valuable, the thing that you guys are here for, is that eventually it becomes a time saver for the tech. Like Javi mentioned, you don't have to remeasure the square footage every single time you're out there unless you've done remodeling, new home, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it also allows you to see exactly like I mentioned before with the upholstery, is you can see the last time that room got cleaned. Maybe they've been skipping the basement for a year and a half. They don't really care about it. It's just like, the gaming dungeon down there. They don't care about it too much. But you can kind of mention that like offhand, like, it's been 18 months. If we did need work down in the basement, you want us to just do like a quick rundown, helps that upsell there too. So it's really just about that history. And once you start using it, it's actually a time saver. And so if you use square footage, highly recommend it. Even if you don't, there's still a lot of value there. So we'll post a quick video on that. And I really do. If you guys aren't using it, I highly recommend it.
Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, moving on. Now
The actual Jeremy?
the other Jennifer. He was asking, hopefully a simple request. We would use it, but I don't know how many other service monsters would. We send out emails to our technicians when we add a job to their schedule. It shows the client name and date, but I wish it showed the notes as well. So just so you know, all it does show is account, and it would say last name, first name, and then the job date and time, and which technicians are assigned to that job. And that's it.
And so what Javi's referring to here is on every employee, you can set the ability, if they're a technician, that they can receive alerts when a job has been assigned to them. And you can do it via email or text, if you're on ServiceMonster 6 at least. And when you have this set up, it's going to let them know, hey, if a job just got assigned to you on Monday at 8 a.m., sends off that quick email to them, lets them know. It's really nice for kind of keeping the techs kind of involved in knowing what they're scheduled before that day, occurs.
Mm-hmm.
And so his request was to have the notes on there too, so they could kind of, understand what the job is going to fully entail before they look at it on that day. So yeah, I really just kind of wanted to bring attention to the fact that exists, if you guys aren't aware of that. And then also it is a really interesting request. And so we'll definitely note that, and we'll talk about it at the product meeting.
Right. Because of course they can simply go to your technician app and check out those notes, but it's just an extra step. It's nice to just be able to know like any specific things, like you're gonna need to take this truck versus that truck, or whatever the case is.
I think just kind of like mentally preparing themselves for what they need to do that day ahead of time, because most people probably aren't looking ahead.
Roll back their eyes or call in sick.
Hopefully not, but yeah, it's sort of like I used to deliver pizza for years, and there's always a couple of customers you see their address, you're just like,
oh man, dude, I think you've told me a couple stories, and I'm sorry.
So for everyone out there, make sure you tip your delivery drivers.
That's right. Dawn asked, I have a customer customers who need to be emailed their notifications, like job reminders and things like that, but they don't want to receive promotion emails. Is there a way to set that up?
Yeah, and this is actually really key, and I think sometimes it gets lost in translation, so to speak. Fantastic movie, by the way.
So what are you doing here?
A couple of things. Taking a break from my wife, forgetting my son's birthday, and getting paid $2 million to endorse a whiskey when I could be doing a play somewhere.
Oh.
But the good news is the whiskey works.
But Brenda replied in here, and I just kind of wanted to get the information out for everyone who didn't know. The do not contact on an account page, the little button you can hit that allows it to be filtered out of your marketing campaigns.
Yep.
What that is referencing is marketing directly. Like, you're not saying, hey, don't send them an email just after a job with a receipt, or don't send them their job reminders. It's just saying, keep it only focused to things that I've specifically requested from you. For instance, the work that's being done.
Mm-hmm.
They're asking to be removed from your marketing list, essentially. So that's what that does. Turning that on and using it correctly in your marketing campaigns is only blocking it from that point. So you can use that and still hit those customers with your actual work-related emails.
Right. It's a good point. I think that's it.
We jumped ahead. We jumped ahead, skipped up to Jennifer there already.
Yeah.
So, that's all we have for today, guys. Thanks as always for tuning in, and thank you to our SMUG users. That we always love seeing the collaboration, the requests, just a lot of great feedback there.
Yeah.
Hope everyone has a great 3-day weekend. In the past, this will be coming out right after that. So hope
you had a memorable Memorial Day weekend.
Yes. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Oh, God. See, the problem is I want to like jokingly get in on this, but if I do that, then he's got that recorded. That's the problem.
Oh man, he does.
Yeah, so it's like anything that I throw in there just now, Justin will just be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, here's Adam rapping."
I need to clean
Totally
this now.
non-ironically.
Remix.